You are now listening to the Sportz Nutz.
Yes, welcome to the Sportz Nutz, y'all. We are officially past the 100 mark. This is episode 101. We hope you guys have had a fantastic weekend. We actually had a little bit of an event happen that Saturday night, by the way, Matt. I don't know if you saw my text earlier. So it was a confirmed tornado touched down. Actually, 4 roads down from our house. It was rated an EF0. It did touch down briefly for about 2 miles. Not much damage was done, but there was some areas like some wires were knocked down, some trees were cut in half. Now, what was really the damage that happened to our house was our flagpole completely ripped out of the house, so we got to replace the holder for it. It bent the flag as well.
Oh no! First of all, he's downplaying it, guys. He is downplaying this. Okay, the tornado's going by. When the wind outside is going crazy, first
shaking
of all,
the whole house. By the way,
wind is going crazy. All right, Brandon, stop downplaying this. It's going crazy. Okay, this guy, he's like, ugh. He goes to the front door. All right, he takes his socks off. He opens the door, jumps out into the tornado, clothes is blowing, everything's blowing, and he's trying to unloosen his flag out there. He gets the flag, comes back, throws it down, sits back down on the couch like nothing happened.
Yeah. So I've been through several tornadoes.
I see. I'm sitting there like, what is going on? I was inside. I was kind of freaking out a little bit, but
people don't realize, that train sound. You really do hear it. It was so violent. The house shook, and it was probably about maybe between 1 and 3 minutes long, where it was the most intense. But yeah, thankfully nobody was injured. There was no real damages and stuff. But it was crazy. But hey, guys, welcome to the Sportz Nutz again. Hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. We celebrated our 100th episode. You got to see myself. You got to see Matt, Shane, and Hank all together at the same time. Just had a lot of fun doing that. Matt, how was the rest of your weekend, man?
It was cool, man. Like I said, I left from Carolina, got back to Atlanta early Sunday morning. Early on Sunday. Just have some time to myself, man. I just kind of enjoyed the drive. Just kind of took my time. 2-hour drive turned, kind of a bit long, but I just enjoyed it. Made some stops. Got back home, man, and just enjoyed the rest of my day. And that's pretty much it.
Absolutely. I actually had a lot of fun too. I got to spend time with my friends. It made a lot of more enjoyable activities. But I will tell you this, man, I was pretty exhausted. The rest of so when you left, it was early in the morning. When then Shane left around 9:30 ish, and then when he left, I crashed. I was so exhausted. I'm still kind of exhausted. I had the issue with the heart, so everything wears me out faster than others. But yeah, I was pretty tired. But it was just nice to get and enjoy spending time with everybody. We ended up taking the girls that evening or that afternoon to Unity Park in downtown Greenville, and we the girls got to play on the playground. We had a picnic. It was actually a lot of fun. We really enjoyed it, and really, it was a nice experience. Now, look, it was a little chilly because of the wind, but everything else was fun. I had a lot of fun. So, obviously, as you guys see, our 2 other guys are not here yet. Shane will be joining us momentarily. He has already said he will be here momentarily. And then Hank is almost home, and he'll be joining us. Actually, Shane is just now popping on. Let's bring him on. Shane, man, how's it going, brother? You're muted.
Well, what's going on, guys? Sorry, I'm a little late.
No, you're good. What I was telling Matt to start the show was I don't know if you saw my text. It was officially confirmed. There was a tornado that briefly touched down here in Easley. It was actually 4 streets away at touchdown. It was an EF0, about 2 miles on the ground. Then it went back up. There was no real damage, but yeah, it was an interesting experience. Matt was kind of giving a little synopsis of how it happened. And here's the crazy thing, y'all. What was even funnier? So we finished the show. We wrapped everything up. Matt and Shane took Hank back to the hotel, and they got back here, and then it literally the sky unzipped, and then it stopped, and it was like still as could be. like it's like the calm before the storm, and then it just went woof, and it poured, and the wind was torrential. Hey, this gentleman right here, this is my buddy John. Him and I have been talking regularly. Hey, he has his own little sports podcast. He wants to collab with us, so definitely, John, we're going to set that up, man. Good. No, you're good. Glad you're here, man. But all right, so we're going to have a fun-filled show lined up for everybody. I cannot wait to talk about the topics that I've come up with. But the first thing I'm going to mention the rundown. We're going to talk obviously about the Stanley Cup playoffs. Right now the round 2 is actually started for both Carolina and Washington. I want to we can talk about which games are the games that we want to really circle as to these are the most important games. Obviously, a very big game happened last night with the Toronto Maple Leafs. We'll talk a little bit about that. The WNBA preseason, yes, it's in full effect. What does the sellouts mean for the regular season? For those who don't know, the Caitlin Clark preseason game that just was held at the University of Iowa, 1.6 million viewers, which is a record for WNBA preseason. We'll talk a little bit about that. And then, guys, I gotta ask this question: what on earth is going on with the city of Baltimore? First, you have the Orioles, who are having a disastrous season. They're giving up runs to literally anybody. They're giving up runs like Oprah is giving cars away. You get a run, you get a run. But then also, Justin Tucker is officially gone from the Baltimore Ravens. It's so weird to say that, and by the way, if you guys haven't seen the video, I encourage you to see this. A rookie kicker out of Arizona, the dude can nail 75 yarders with ease. It's very true. So we'll talk a little bit about the Baltimore situation going on. And then obviously it's the final countdown. The NCAA men's and women's, both baseball and softball, regular seasons are starting to wrap up, wind down, whatever you want to call it. Who has the best odds, in your opinion, that is bound for Omaha and also bound for Oklahoma City? We'll talk a little bit about that. Now, guys, AJ Minter of the New York Mets, weird to say, he's having season-ending and possibly career-ending surgery. What does this mean for the New York Mets? And are we about to see their annual collapse for baseball? We'll talk a little bit about that. Obviously, I want to talk a little bit about some NFL and what we could see happening in the coming months. And then also, I have a really cool question, which I'm going to start out this question with, because somebody posed this question on Twitter, and I wanted to ask you guys the same thing. And I'm going to start with Matt. Look, you can give more than one. It's okay. So, there has always been one of those unusual press conferences that have come about, always. And there are so many notable and memorable press conferences that come out. So I'm going to ask you 2 questions. The first one, and the people who are in the chat right now, chime in as well. The first one is what is the most awkward sports press conference you ever seen or been a part of? And the second one is what is the most memorable press conference that you've ever seen or been a part of? Matt, go ahead.
The most awkward sports one I ever saw was between Stan Van Gundy and Dwight Howard. I think either Van Gundy had just got fired, or it came out that Dwight Howard had lobbied for Van Gundy to be fired. And this is when he was the Magic. And Van Gundy sitting there talking to the press, answering these questions. But Dwight Howard just finished practice, comes over there, puts his arm around Stan Van Gundy, and was like, "I love Stan. I just love Stan." Blah 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 blah.
Oh my God, remember that?
Stan Van Gundy is like, "Yeah." So it was so awkward. So yeah, that's the most awkward one that I saw, man. And of course, the most memorable, of course, playoffs. Playoffs.
You kidding me? The playoffs? We're getting in the game for the playoffs.
Yeah. Those two, man. Those two for sure.
All right. So our good friend John here said Shane Stecken was awkward. Okay. Elaborate on that one too, John. I want to hear the first one. And then Dennis Green of Arizona was memorable. I remember Dennis Green's we are who we thought they were. Yep. That was pretty memorable. Yep. All right, Shane, what about you? I want to ask you, what was your most awkward sports press conference you've seen or been a part of? And what was the most memorable you've ever seen or been a part of?
Man, I can tell you, the awkward ones really don't come to mind for me. It's just kind of more memorable ones, like the playoffs and the Dennis Green. But man, by far my most memorable press conference was when Mike Helton announced the passing of Dale Earnhardt there after the wreck at Daytona in 2001. I remember that one, and we had about a 5-hour ride from Folly Beach, South Carolina, back up home to Virginia, and we cried the whole way because of that. So that's by far my most memorable press conference.
Oh man, I actually remember that. I remember I was at lunch with my friend Mina. Him and I were, I think we were two other friends as well, and we were watching TV, and they broke in the news that Dale Earnhardt had passed away, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And literally, you hear the entire restaurant. They're like, and they turn the volume up on all the screens just to hear it. Like it was a surreal moment. Absolutely. All right, so this is what John said. Shane Steckens' introductory presser was so awkward. All right, so I got an awkward one for you, and you guys probably have seen and heard this so many times. So Jacksonville has by far the most unusual saying, Duval or whatever. And I've never understood why, but the introductory press conference for their new head coach, when he goes, Jacksonville, the environment, Duval. And like the facial expression he gave, I'm like, dude, that was like the most cringy, like awkward, everything. And people so the person who posed the top 5 awkward press conferences, that was number 2 on the list. The number 3 was when the girl from Detroit the girl asked about can the team handle playing Detroit in the frigid temperatures during the playoffs, and the guy goes, well, I mean, they are. He goes, they are. What was it? Remind me, who's the head coach of the Buccaneers, Matt? I'm drawing a blank. Oh
right now?
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank.
Oh
my gosh. Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles, yes. And he goes, well, they are in a domed and like field, I thought. So I mean, we should be okay. And someone said she should have her press credentials ripped right away. But that was the most awkward one for me. The most memorable. Ooh, there are so many on this one that is the most memorable. I'm gonna have to probably say, it's kind of a tie. The playoff one with Jim Mora is one of them, but then the most memorable is definitely Dennis Green when we are who we thought they were. That was the most memorable one because that sticks in your mind like to this day that you can remember who he was, how he was, what kind of person he was, and he was and then of course my other one that I really enjoyed was hello, you play to win the game. That was the top of the line one right there with Herm Edwards. So yeah, a lot of them. Hey, people that are in there, let us know, that are watching now, chime in. Chime in on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever's YouTube, and we would love to hear your most awkward press conference you remember, and then obviously the most memorable press conference you saw. And then here was I love Tony Dungy's Dennis Green stories. Yes, Tony Dungy is a phenomenal storyteller. I absolutely admire him. I think he's a great coach. I think he would do good even in today's game. I think him and Bill Cowher could team up and be old school and new school put together kind of thing. I think they do really well in the NFL. So that's my thoughts on that one. All right, so Matt, I got Matt Shane. I'm going to ask you this. I know you guys are not diehard hockey people like I am, but the Stanley Cup playoffs, they're in full force. Obviously, my team, the Tampa Bay Lightning, lost in 5 to the Florida Panthers, which I do not understand how we own a team in the entire regular season, and then we struggle in the playoffs. But playoffs is a different season. Absolutely, it is. So now we're talking about, like, last night, Toronto Maple Leafs. They started out like red hot, but their goalie. Did you guys happen to see what happened to the goalie?
No, what happened?
He got punched in the back of the head.
Ooh.
Or the head area, and he looked fine at first, but then he started getting woozy and like couldn't stand up straight, and then he ended up vomiting. He was taken off off the ice and had to go leave the arena on a stretcher. He was evaluated for a concussion. They said that he He has returned back to the team. He is going through concussion protocol. He could actually return for game 2. I don't know if that is going to be detrimental for Toronto, just simply because, of course, I hate the Florida Panthers. I absolutely cannot stand them. They're my rival for reasons. But Toronto, they have a lot of depth. Absolutely, they have phenomenal depth. But when your main goalie goes down with a most likely concussion, that's pretty prominent in any sport, let alone in hockey. And this postseason has turned out to be one for the ages. Obviously, the Western Conference, I think everybody was like up 3-1 in the Eastern Conference. No, the East was up 3-1, and the Western was like I think 2 out of the 4 went to 7 games. So it's kind of a mixed bag of peanuts kind of thing. So let's look right now. Right now, Carolina is playing at Washington. Alex Ovechkin has become the all-time goal scorer in NHL history. I'm gonna start with you, Shane. Like, can Washington? So look, before we go there, everybody needs to know there has never been a team who has won the President's Cup, which is the best team in all of hockey. They have never won the Stanley Cup. It's never happened. And the Jets are taking on the Dallas Stars, but the Capitals came up runner-up for the President's Cup. Can the Capitals knock off the Panthers? Look, the Panthers, they basically almost swept Matt's Jersey Devils. They did beat them 4-1 in the series. But you saw, Shane, 2 times they went to double overtime. Phenomenal series. Do you think Washington could upset Carolina, or could Carolina upset Washington Capitals?
I'm pulling for the upset. Of course, we know that. But man, I can tell you, since the playoffs, Carolina has turned into a team that's just gritty.
Yes,
they just are scrappy. They don't take anything from anybody, and I enjoy watching it. I mean, even in this game here tonight, they're already like 13 shots deep.
yes.
So they're firing the puck. One of the biggest things that would keep Carolina in this, we know Washington, their prowess, and with Ovi out there, I mean, they were one of the better teams in the NHL this year. But Carolina's got to keep up with their defense. They held New Jersey to 0 power play goals.
That's a remarkable feat in itself, too.
And so far, Washington's had 1 power play that they've killed. So, I think that they can keep it up. And they've got the team atmosphere kind of down for a hockey team, more so than kind of your star power like you see in Dallas.
So, for those who don't know, which I'm guessing there's a lot of people who don't know yet, unfortunately, hopefully you'll learn to love hockey the way we do. Carolina was actually one of the bottom feeders throughout most of the season with penalty kills. They gave up a lot of power play goals, but Shane just hit the nail on the head. They have been absolutely lights out on the power play side. All right, Matt. So I'm gonna switch up to you as well. Do you think that but I'm not gonna use the same team though. I'm gonna use the Dallas Stars and the Winnipeg Jets. Look, the Winnipeg Jets, by the way, Jason, good to see you, man. Winnipeg, they are the President's Cup. They barely, and I mean barely, all beat the Blues, and this was a crazy scene. It literally, there were 3 minutes left in regulation, and it looked like all but done. St. Louis was up 2 goals. They were going to win, and then the Jets scored. So now they're down 3-2, and then they pulled their goalie. And here is the crazy thing: they scored the game. They scored a goal, but it was ruled no goal based on goalie interference, which absolutely did happen. Here was the crazy thing: 1.6 seconds left in the game, basically in Winnipeg's season. They tied the game. They go to overtime, and it was just stagnant on both sides. Double overtime comes, and I told Cassie, I said, look, one team is about to do a hiccup, and I have a feeling it's going to be St. Louis. They're not going to be at the right line, and they're not going to be prepared. and Winnipeg is going to do it. And Winnipeg caught St. Louis at the right time. St. Louis was in between the right shift for the lines. They were not in their defensive line. They were only in their offensive line. And Winnipeg, and I even said, here it comes, here, because you could see it lining up, and they lined it, and they got it, and Winnipeg won. So, man, I'm going to ask you, does Winnipeg hang with the Dallas Stars? Dallas Stars is really good. Do they hang with Dallas and beat Dallas, or could Dallas pull the upset and take on the winner of Vegas and Edmonton for the Western Conference Final?
Well, you got both teams coming off of a Game 7, man. And so both teams are, emotionally they've been through it. So, I mean, if Winnipeg can, weather the storm and play good, sound defense against Dallas, which I think they're capable of, Winnipeg can actually pull this out. But, to me, it's just too many factors that have to play into it. So I'm going to go with Dallas here.
And I like how you said that too. So I texted our good friend Dustin and Derek, the guys from Tired Sports, by the way. They're good guys. Check them out on Tired Sports Network. So I said, I really feel Dallas is actually going to pull the upset over Winnipeg. I said I could see Dallas, because they are so loaded, I could see Dallas winning in 5 even over Winnipeg. But I said realistically, though, it would be a 6-game series. I think that Dallas is going to pull the upset, absolutely. But then, comes the next series, Matt, and I'm going to ask you this one too. Vegas and Edmonton. Look, Edmonton is a phenomenal team. I think it's been like since the 80s, the last time Edmonton actually won a Stanley Cup. So it's been a very long time. In Vegas, they always seem to find the hot point at the right times, and they're always mentioned in the possible Western Conference Finals almost every year. But I think Edmonton's a different franchise. They handle their business pretty good against the Kings. And look, the LA Kings, they're not a pushover team. But do you think Edmonton could pull a rabbit out of their hat and actually upset the Golden Knights, or do you think Vegas is too much for them?
Oh, man, Vegas is definitely too much for them, man. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Edmonton will make it a series. But I think the Golden Knights are just too much for them, man. Like you said, the Golden Knights are consistent. They're consistently there. At the end of the season, haven't won one. What was a couple of years ago, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, they won 3 years ago, or no, actually, I think it was 2022, I believe. I'll have to look it up.
Okay, yeah, having won a few years ago, man. And I think they're coming off of 50-win season. So I'm gonna have to go with Vegas here, man. Just off the sheer fact, I think Vegas they've been there before. They've been there before, and they're there every year, man. And they just know how to win in these situations. So I'm going to go with Vegas here.
So actually, all right. So 2018, they went to the finals, and they didn't win. In 2023, they did win. Actually, wait, hold on. Yeah, they won their first. They defeated the Panthers in 5. Yep. So they won it in 2023, but they were there in 2018. So they absolutely are the level of consistency. All right, so then let's go to you, Shane. Knowing what I just told you about Toronto's main goalie being out, and obviously, if the Florida Panthers were to get swept, I'd be okay with it. But can Toronto actually make it a series and actually beat Florida, or does Florida now have Toronto where they want them?
We'll have to see. I mean, in the game of hockey nowadays, people carry 2-3 goalies.
Yep.
We see that multiple times, especially during games. I mean, it's become a rare thing to see one goalie throughout the whole season on an NHL team anymore. We've got some great names out there and some good goalies, but Toronto, with their star power and stuff like that they have, I could see Florida maybe making it an interesting series if the goalie stays out 1-2 games. If he's out for any length of time, say 3 or 4 games, then I doubt that Toronto would pull it off. But you never know. It's all about how many goals you can score as well. So, and they've got plenty of power to, do that. So I can see Toronto winning this probably in 6, as long as the goalie comes back in 1-2 games.
I like that. I absolutely do. And hey, our good friend Nick Bongolo, hope you heard that too, man. As much as it painstakens me to cheer on the Maple Leafs, I'm cheering you guys on actually for the possibility of winning. All right, so I want to switch it up here, and I have to ask you both, what on earth is going on with the state of Maryland, and more specifically Baltimore? I mean, the Baltimore Orioles, as you guys know, like I said at the start of the show, they're giving runs up to people like Oprah's giving cars away. I mean, there was one game they got blown out 24-2, and then like a few games after that, they were blown out again. I mean, they've been blown out constantly. Like they got blown out 15-3 to the Yankees, and then they got blown out to the Kansas City Royals. I mean, 11-6 the last game. And then we got the news yesterday. Justin Tucker, a formidable name in all of football. Obviously, the off the field antics have really played a huge role in this. But he was released by the Baltimore Ravens, and it's odd to say that. But I'm gonna start with you, Matt. Like, do you think that first off, do you think Justin Tucker plays again this season, or does he have to wait until after all the allegations have been cleared? Like, and then what else could go wrong for the city of Baltimore, right?
Yeah, man. Well, with the case of Justin Tucker, man, I mean, some call him the greatest kicker to ever play, percentage-wise, from an accuracy standpoint, he is. But the allegations are there, even though he hasn't been committed of anything. That's why the Ravens said it was for football reasons, which they drafted or they got the other new kicker
from Arizona.
Yeah, which is going to cost them a lot of money. So they can be telling the truth. It's just the allegations are just there. But I mean, with those allegations, I mean, of course the team did their research, so they have insight on it before anybody else does. So they know what's going to happen. They know what's going on. So I expect something to come out where some proof is shown about what he was doing. And man, look, top 10 athlete, and man, just
what do you always tell people to do?
Just don't get flagged, man. Don't go get a massage, man. Stop getting massages. Just stop. Call people come to the hotel, man. I mean, you're an athlete, man. You're the highest paid kicker in the league. Just come on, man. Come on.
Which, by the way, I don't know if you guys knew this. Justin Tucker sings opera, and there is actual video of him out there. He sings opera in the off season to help raise money for charitable events, like for children with cancer, all the sorts of interesting things. So
singing opera ain't gonna help him beat these allegations, man.
No, I have to question though if
the only operas he needs to be singing is with the C notes. Keep him hushed. That's what he needs to do. Because I want to know crazy.
Though, like if this is actual validity, because the last player who was accused of all these massage parlor antics was Deshaun Watson, and you saw, karma. I would hate to say this, but karma kind of bit him in the backside, and his career is pretty much shot. He's had a double Achilles tear, but I'm not trying to say Tucker's career is over with, but there's always that possibility. But Shane, what do you think? Do you think that Baltimore is like there's just something seriously wrong right now with the entire city? I mean, obviously, and we can trace back to a disaster that happened last year with the bridge collapsing, with the Freightliner crashing into the bridge and it collapsing. And we're not saying anything wrong. Our thoughts, hearts, and prayers go out to all those affected with that. But like, what is going on though with Baltimore? I mean, remember the Orioles? They were a formidable opponent for a few years, and then now they're kicking rocks kind of thing right now.
Oh yeah, well, to kind of tie it back into the one question, that's a good memorable press conference when Justin Tucker's asking about you ever smelled up dog before? But as far as Baltimore as a whole, beautiful city. I know a bunch of people from up that way and everything. Camden Yards, probably one of the prettiest ballparks that you can go to.
Ballparks.
But in that sense, man, I mean, it's something about these Orioles teams of late. Last year they were decent. And this year we expected to climb up further, possibly challenge the Yankees for an East crown. But with all this young talent, it seems like they need that veteran leadership to get in there to kind of maybe right this ship the way it's going. Just because of, I mean, they have talent. It's there. You can see it on the field when they play, but they just need some swift kick in the behind, I guess.
Absolutely, they need something.
But I mean, other than that, I mean, Baltimore is Baltimore. It can be just as lackadaisical 1 minute, and then the next minute, you've got 50 dirt bikes running past you. So it's a unique city, especially where it's located. I think that they're not done. I think that some things will change in all areas of sports. Maybe even possibly to the football team, maybe making it past that next little hump.
Look, our friend John just said Baltimore will be fine. Both teams are too. Yes, they are. They are, John. But like the question that is coming about though, like with the Orioles especially, I mean, Shane just they have a lot of young talent, but I don't think. I have to question a little bit, obviously, of the management with regards to they signed Charlie Morton. Obviously, we knew what's going on, Dustin. Good to see you, man. We knew what was going on with Charlie Morton here in Atlanta. We knew it was time for Morton to move on from the Atlanta Braves roster. And obviously, he didn't feel he was just quite ready yet, but his stuff is not there. It's absolutely not there. And, I believe he is only one more start away from being DFA'd. I feel it wholeheartely coming, and shout out to Charlie Morton. He's done phenomenal. He's a great pitcher. Absolutely. But the Orioles, though, they've had a lot of questionable decisions. And Dustin just said, Dallas Stars, what a game 7. Yes, that was a fantastic win. So, but I'm struggling to really wrap my head around this because they had such promise. They were the team that was supposed to challenge the Yankees and challenge the Red Sox. And there were some experts, Buster Olney is one of them. He said this team was so stacked. They were going to be the ones to really reign supreme in their conference and even in their division, their everything to possibly even challenge for the pennant. And we're just not seeing him. And I mean, look, and John even says his Royals. Oh, that's right. He is a KC Royals. Oh boy, that's a situation in itself going on in Kansas City as well. So hey, we'll see what goes on though. But Baltimore, let's hope you get it together because it ain't over till it's over. All right, so Matt, I want to start with you on this one. This is actually a really cool indication that we have been talking about this regularly. And we're going to continue to talk about this regularly. Women's athletic ability is getting there. Women's sports is really coming a long way, and it showed itself last night. It showed itself for Caitlin Clark's game Sunday. She returned to Iowa, and it was a preseason game between the Brazilian national team and the Indiana Fever. It drew 1.6 million viewers, which is phenomenal. This is showing people that it's here that women's sports is really turning the right cheek, I guess you can say. But Matt, we've asked. I'm going to ask you before, and I've asked you before. I'm asked again. Are we about to see great things start to continue, or about to see great things happen for women's sports?
Well, first of all, let's not forget who Caitlin Clark is. I contribute that viewership to the quote unquote Caitlin Clark effect. And granted, she came through, man, with that crazy shot, man.
And look, John just said that too. That was an insane shot.
Yeah, that was a crazy shot in rhythm, man. That was crazy. So I think the game is kind of the women's game is, and I'm not talking about from a fan's perspective. I'm talking about just the actual game itself, the way it's played, the way because women's basketball has always been deemed to be more technical than the men's game, more fundamental than the men's game. Mm-hmm. But now we're going to start seeing it get to how it was in the NBA in 2014, 2015, when Steph Curry really burst onto the scene, even though he was in the league for like 6 years already, but he burst into the scene and just started shooting shots. Now you're going to start seeing a lot of women taking deep shots like that. And it's coming up with the girls that are in college right now. A lot of the incoming freshmen are like that. They're just launching them. So now you're going to see that transition from the game going from fundamental to everybody jacking up shots. You're about to see it. So that's where the women's game is going right now. You can see it, and Caitlin Clark is going to be at the forefront of that, like Steph Curry was at the forefront of it in his respective sport. But to piggyback off, well, not piggyback, but to answer what you were saying, Brandon. Yeah, you can kind of see people anxious for it, man. It's like their off season is like seems like so short, but
now you blink and you're in it. Like I mean,
I know, but it's crazy.
2 weeks later, you're on your team playing.
Exactly like Paige Beckers. I mean, you play. You play a college game. You play a college game.
The national championship. You get drafted. Yep. 2 days later.
Drafted the next week. You drafted 2 days later. You got a couple days later. A couple weeks later, you're playing. Like, whoo, you know. So
no off-season break.
Exactly. So I think they're trying to get away from the fact that when Diana Taurasi was around, and all those ladies, that generation, off-season they're overseas playing ball, getting more money in the off-season from overseas than they are in the WNBA. I think the WNBA is trying to fix that, and they will. It'll get there. It'll get there. It was the gap was like this. Now it's kind of getting there. So when endorsements, NIL, I mean, and all these other things, man. So they'll get there. But I think yes, a lot of people are ready to see what this incoming draft class is going to do, and they also want to see how much better the previous draft class was, like Caitlin Clark, and how much better they've gotten.
Exactly. This is year 2 under the belt. And so, Hank, welcome to the show, man. Good to see you, buddy. Happy to hear. So, look, our good friend John just posed this comment here about the National Women's Soccer League. Yes, and I definitely want to tag in there just a minute, John, because there is actually some really big news coming out of that league that I want to address soon in a second. But I'm going to ask you, Hank, this question because, we're seeing, like, the popularity is finally starting to show up for women's sports. I mean, I'm not just talking, and we alluded to that when we had those young ladies on our show on Saturday that had just won for the softball. I'm talking about all women's sports in general. Like, we're seeing a massive influx of fans for softball, for basketball, and for volleyball. And there is actually a women's professional hockey league, which Atlanta is getting a team, by the way. I mean, like, are we starting to see amazing things come about for women's sports?
Brick by brick, my citizens, and that's capitalizing off of what Matt said. It's kind of, it's not going to happen overnight.
Right. Rome wasn't built in a day.
No. And this Caitlin Clark effect could be a positive and a negative at the same time. Matt mentioned it. She's jacking up long shots and stuff like that. But what turned people off on the NBA is these long shots and, not driving to the lane, risking any mid-range jumpers, anything like that. It's like everybody cashes in their chips, it's all or nothing. They bet the house on it with these 3-point shots all the time. I mean, when was the last time you saw a mid-range jumper that made the highlights on SportsCenter or something like that? I mean, it's been what?
I can't think.
Exactly. And that's kind of and it kind of goes in the direction of what Matt was just saying, and what I'm trying to allude here is that, yes, I'm pulling for them to do well. It's time for some growth in the women's basketball, especially because, women's basketball has had a hard time getting the respect and the notoriety that it has. And now it's starting to get there. Are we there yet? No. You can't, it's just, once again, nothing
is going to count your chickens until they hatch.
Well, I mean, nothing happens in a day. It's a day-to-day process.
That's right.
That's the biggest thing. I appreciate, I don't appreciate the impatience of people like Angel Reese, but Angel Reese is a ratchet girl anyway, so I don't pay attention to half what she says.
Yeah, funny you said brick by brick. And mention her name in the same sentence.
Oh yes, that was a good one. Okay, that was actually really good that you said that too, Shane.
Oh my god,
that was pretty good. I mean, come on, you got to admit, Matt, that was pretty good, right? What he said.
What happened? I didn't hear. I just got back on.
So Hank said building brick by brick, and then he mentioned Angel Reese's name in the same sentence. That was actually phenomenal. Yes. All right, so go ahead, continue.
No, I'm done. I'm just saying, I'll just close it with that. I am happy for this. I hope that it works out. You see that there is an influx of softball, that has its fan base. But when you're having an arena still, filled with like 2,000 people in an 18,000 people arena, there is a problem here. So it'll get there, and I hope it does. They just,
John just said it. Women's sports just is so unique, and culture isn't fully there yet, but I think it's going to. Yes. It's so interesting that you mentioned the National Women's Soccer League. Like I just mentioned, by the way, the Women's Professional Hockey League is growing by 8 franchises. One of them is in the city of Atlanta. They will be played at the same arena that the College Park Skyhawks, which is the G League team for the Atlanta Hawks. It's the same location that the Atlanta Dream play in. They will be playing there starting in 2027-28 season. The National Women's Soccer League, they're having an Atlanta team come in 2028-29. They just finally approved a significant pay increase for the National Women's Soccer League. I think it's like $150,000 a year per player, which is absolutely phenomenal. That's the step in the right direction for these ladies, and I'm fully in for it. And I'm not just in this because I'm a girl dad times 4, which, I mean, ultimately my hope is that my daughters get full rides to college through sports as well as academics, both of them, because college is an arm and a leg nowadays. But I absolutely cheer on the rapid growth that women's sports is attaining. Look, we had Coach League on the show. Remember that was Cassie's former softball coach who coaches softball, and she said that she's had so many girls come back and say thank you for this, because not only have you prepared me for life with sports, but with the game of life as well. And that's where it really enriches the lives of kids all over, women all over, is because they're getting the right coaching, the right tools and everything. And, I'm excited for what women's basketball is coming. Look, obviously we're about to see, I believe June 27th is the first game between the last 2 number 1 picks. Caitlin Clark takes on Paige Beckers. And if you want to get your tickets down, now would be the time to do it, folks, because the lowest they have is $297 a ticket. That's got to be a good sign for everybody as well.
Oh, for women? For women's basketball?
Yes, it is, because Indiana is playing host to Paige Beckers and the Dallas Stars. Paige Beckers was the number 1 pick this year's draft. Caitlin was last year's number 1, and it's $297 is the cheapest ticket that they have right now. So shout out to that. I'm happy to see that. Obviously, Matt and I both said we want to see what is about to come for Paige Beckers. Could Paige Beckers become, the next Diana Taurasi, where she, has elite level playing? We don't know yet. Obviously, it's too early to tell, but it's going to be fun to see what's going on. So, I mean, again, though, for those who do have girl dads, who are girl dads, excuse me, and their daughters play in sports, comment on the stream here. We want to hear your thoughts. We've obviously had a good bit of conversation here so far. We want to hear some more. Here's the question I'm going to pose for all the people watching. We'll switch to the next topic. Is women's sports about to have an influx of rapid growth and good growth, might I add? Let us know what you think. I mean, I've already told you Charlotte, Sting, Houston, and New Orleans and a couple other teams are finalists listing for the next WNBA expansion teams. We're about to see more coming. It will literally be announced. It should be announced at any time. So we'll see about that one. So, all right. So I want to go to the next topic here. And it's kind of sad, but funny at the same time. Look, AJ Minter, Matt, you know this. He's played for, and by the way, Washington just scored on Carolina. AJ Minter did phenomenal things for the Atlanta Braves. He helped win the World Series for the Atlanta Braves in 2021. And of course, he's had Tommy John. He's had other major surgeries happen in his career. Well, he's having season-ending torn. He's torn his labrum, and he's having surgery, season-ending, but it's most likely career-ending because of the level of the injury that he has. But he plays for the New York Mets, and Shane, you know this. We see this every year, an epic collapse. Is this the start of the Mets finally beginning their epic collapse? What do you think, Shane?
It's too early to tell. To be honest with you, Mentor, he was a great guy for the Braves in the past. I really hadn't paid attention to much of the Mets so far this year, so I don't know exactly. I don't know exactly where he was, but I mean the Mets have accrued, a plethora of talent, but they have
Let's
not.
be honest, they bought their talent.
Well, like I said, they put together a plethora of talent, but they haven't produced much in the past couple of years. And this year they're doing better. It always comes down to their pitching. It seems like they have a major injury on one of their key offensive weapons during the year. Um, I don't really see anything other than the Mentor injury kind of hampering them right now, which, we all know it watching baseball, especially in the majors. Next man up mentality with that many games, stuff like that, especially for a middle relief guy, closer, setup man kind of deal. You've got plenty of opportunity there to go down in the ranks and get some productivity from some younger guys. Speaking of injuries, Reds player, the rookie last night.
Yes.
I hope he gets better. Speedy recovery after breaking that forearm like he did.
Do you know what happened, Hank? Matt, did you see what happened?
No.
So I think his name was Tyler Callahan for the Cincinnati Reds. They were playing, right now the Reds are playing the Braves. Matt Olson hit a line draw, like a really far out pitch, and the guy dove for it.
Are you watching this? Are you watching this right now?
No, this was yesterday.
Okay.
He dove into the wall at Turner Field at Truist Park and broke his forearm, and they ended up calling it an inside the park home run. But he broke his forearm, and it's going to be a long road to recovery from. But it was a horrific injury. But I don't know if you guys saw, but that's what he was alluding to. But you're right though, Shane. Obviously, here's a crazy stat to also know: the Philadelphia Phillies, they're only 3 games behind the Mets for first place. Then the Braves and the Nationals they're also 6 games behind the Mets. It's coming. The collapse of the Mets is almost undoubtedly going to happen. I can see
like
it coming.
Always.
And
Like
yes,
always.
it is the Mets. And what was the year the Braves won the World Series? Remember the Mets? They paid like a $500 million roster, right? And they held on to that lead of the division until the final 10 days of the season, and they lost it, and they didn't even make the playoffs. So, I mean, that just goes to show money doesn't always buy everything. So, obviously the baseball season is very young. However, we're kind of starting to differentiate and separate really bad from really good. Obviously, the Colorado Rockies, they're really, really bad. I mean, they're absolutely terrible this year. They've only won 6 games, guys. They're 6-28. That's abysmal. And they're in the same division as the Giants, the Padres, and the Dodgers. Which shout out to the state of California, y'all. Their baseball program this year, all baseball for them has done phenomenal. So shout out to them indeed. And Shohei Ohtani, by the way, I don't know if you saw, hit the hardest home run of the season last night. It was crazy. He did it almost at 118 miles an hour at exit velocity. But then also let's go and look at the Chicago White Sox. We saw a one of the worst seasons ever for a baseball team, Major League Baseball team, in the Chicago White Sox last year. They're 10-25. They're starting to sit at that point again where they're going to be really bad. And then, of course, you have the Baltimore Orioles, which they could turn around, but I don't know. The Angels, there's a possibility. The Miami Marlins, they're starting to separate themselves from being good and bad again. I mean, you're starting to see it, but it's still pretty early in the season. So we'll see. But I still think that the Mets are absolutely going to collapse. So it's just my funny part on that one. All right, so I want to ask, did you guys happen to see, first off, shout out though to Washington D.C. They got 2 great big news awarded to them, obviously, as of late. First off, the 2027 NFL draft will be held in Washington, D.C., it's going to be right in front of the Washington Monument. It's expected to have over 1 million people plus be there for that event. And then also, did you guys see the $4.5 billion stadium design for the Washington Commanders by chance?
No, I haven't seen that yet, but who's got the 2026 draft?
The 2026 is Philadelphia. Yeah, Pittsburgh.
Okay. No, I haven't seen the blueprint of the new stadium, man. I'm pretty sure it's going to be crazy.
And what were you saying? What were you saying was going to be in front of the Washington Monument?
They're gonna have the.
It's going to be at the National Mall, not Washington Monument.
Yeah, it's going to be held there. So they're expecting over 1 million people.
That's the biggest crowd. That's the biggest crowd. Yeah, go ahead.
Is it an indoor or an outdoor stadium?
It's an indoor. It's domed. You ready? This is the actual stadium. It is a $4.5 billion project. The owners have already committed $2.7 billion of their own funds.
They're going to put it next to the water like that?
I'm guessing it's going to be indoor. It's going to have a glass dome on the top, which people are pretty they're kind of like shocked about that. And it's gonna look really good, but it's gonna be they said it's gonna be an 85,000 seat arena. It's gonna be built on the former grounds of where RFK Stadium was located.
Yeah.
For I think it was up until 1996 is where it was, and now they put it at FedEx or something like that.
And they're expecting the surrounding area to have 1 million.
Yeah.
That's going to be like the biggest crowd since Forrest Gump spoke there. I mean,
So what you're talking about? So at the National Mall at the Washington Monument, they'll have over 1 million people there for the draft. It's the biggest that they've ever had.
That's a lot. That's too much.
Yeah.
That's too much. That's just too much.
It's a little ostentatious, I'll say that.
And then you have, but it is DC, and DC is known for going big and going hard.
Are they?
Yeah.
I was about to say DC, maybe like what the parts that we're familiar with, but that's a ghetto town right there.
Oh
buddy.
yeah, I'm not saying when they like they're sporting teams, I should say, because I mean the Capitals, when Ovi hit the record, they had that a long celebration for it. They still have celebrations going on right now.
You know what I think they're banking on? I think they're banking on it being accepted by the whole DMV area, kind of a DC, Maryland, Virginia. I'm pretty sure they're banking on that.
And so also they are also expecting because Jaden Daniels is there, and people are also believing that by the year 2027, who's to say the Commanders haven't, I'm about to say the Redskins, the Commanders haven't won a Super Bowl. Jaden Daniels could be that one, we will see what's going on with that, right? Go ahead, Hank.
No, I was just going to say, and aren't we still in this process of them protesting getting the Redskin label back on them as well, too?
So the owners and the whole entire organization said they will not switch the name back to the Redskins. However, they will have special uniforms that they will don during certain points of the season to celebrate Native American heritage. Even the Native American tribesmen even come back and said they want the Redskin logo back because it represents somebody on their in the Native American world. So, obviously we're never going to see him, but I still call them the Redskins. It's just I've known for my whole life. It's weird to say
I know
the Commanders, but we're talking almost a 90,000 seat arena. It's domed, it's glass, and there's obviously the discussions have gone around about domed teams going to locations that have outdoor elements. And it was very prevalent during the New Orleans Saints time when Drew Brees was there. They would do phenomenal in domes, but Matt, right away, go out to an outdoor facility like up in Philadelphia or Buffalo or wherever they traveled, they struggled every time. And with 17 out of the 32 teams having domed facilities, obviously it's going to continue to change. Yeah. Buffalo is building a new one. It is partially covered, but it's still an outdoor facility right next door to their old Orchard Park location. And then obviously Lambeau Field is not going to they're not going to get any dome. If they dome Lambeau Field, there'd be no way that would be considered football anymore, just because Lambeau is such a historic, monumental piece and everything. But then, they're making the Chicago Bears are going to be a dome stadium, and then they're also talking about the Cleveland Browns. They're going to have a dome stadium. It's going to kind of look like a train station.
They deserve dome stadiums because they play out in the freaking craziest weather imaginable, man. Teams like that in that Ohio areas, the Bengals, things like that. They should be dome teams, but I get it. They want to keep that nostalgia of the old time gritty football.
Yes.
They want to keep that outdoor football. But hey, man, we're in different times now. We're in different times.
I would just like to see a different design than what LA's already done out there. What Vegas has done.
What Atlanta's done.
Yeah, I mean, Atlanta's a little bit different. They at least kind of kept it a little bit ostentatious with the, octagonal shape and all that, kind of there.
But think about it, they're going to be a glass ceiling, like the amount of thickness first off, the amount of glass they're going to have to pull, that's going to be a ton of it. But the thickness of the glass, because it does snow where they're building. I mean, it does snow in DC. Could you imagine? It hails. Yeah, the weather is unbelievable there. Could you imagine like one softball-sized hail hitting the glass and how quickly it would shatter?
Glass. Think of hurricanes that come up through that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just tired of the cookie cutter stuff of this one looks like this one. This one looks like this one. Like they all have that same, like it's like a bowl shape. I mean, look at Jacksonville's new stadium. They have that. They call it the Stadium of Tomorrow. Jacksonville's is going to be domed, but it has a retractable, but it has that bowl shape. And it and then look at the Reds, the command. God, I keep saying the Redskins.
It don't matter.
The Commanders.
Nobody gives a crap what you say like that.
It looks like a bowl. It's a bowl shape. So it's every stadium. You're right, Shane.
It's more about practicality now, though. You got to put themselves in the. None of us here are from a football stadium town, so to speak, and none of us have season tickets. They want their season ticket holders comfortable. It gets hot during those times and it gets cold during those times. Quite frankly, you would never, if there was a dome, you would never have to turn the heat on because there's enough body heat in there, it would really irritate the hell out of people. But I mean, I'm just saying.
You follow the Titans, right, Hank?
So
they're building a new stadium. Is theirs? I can't remember. Is there going to be a dome? I can't remember. Is Nissan stadium
do not quote me on that, but I believe that there is a dome that they're building. Go ahead.
I'm not sure if it's domed or if it's just got the kind of like the Miami,
like Hard Rock Cafe.
Yeah, kind of like Miami and Houston. It's got the retractable. Miami's kind of got that kind of square but open kind of deal.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. They showed the plans about a year ago, and if memory serves me correctly, I think it's not like it's a retractable ceiling,
roof.
But it's not like bowl shaped. It's like a square shaped, almost like Seattle's.
It is a domed stadium. However, it has a retractable roof. Yes.
Yeah.
So it is domed. It's not square shaped. Okay.
No, it's domed.
Yeah. It's supposed to be right there on the river too.
Yep.
Isn't it?
Right on the river. Yep.
Yeah, the Tennessee River or whatever.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what they. Yeah. No, I didn't know that, but
it'll start playing in there in 2027. But I mean, it also, and look, Houston's, they have a retractable. So Miami isn't dumped. However, a lot of the fans, they're protected from the outside elements of rain to a degree. Obviously, the field still has the sun beating down. Of course, when the wind blows, the rain's still going to get you.
Yeah, about like the old Arlington Stadium.
Yes, exactly. And people are saying that with the LA Rams, they have they are still considered an outdoor stadium because of the way it's designed. The wind flows right through it. It's basically like kind of sitting on ground. Yes, there is a dome over top, but it's opened all around, so the wind blows. So when they do have lightning delays or storm delays, they actually pause the game because of the design of their stadium. So it's going to be interesting to see the Commanders' new stadium. I mean, it's going to be, honestly, I think we're coming to the era where we're not going to see, but maybe, let's see, there's Buffalo, and then there's going to be Green Bay and Seattle. gosh, and Miami. I think that's going to be the only 4 that probably end up being still considered outdoor arenas. That's just my thoughts on that one. Let us know what you think in the stream. We want to hear that as well. Obviously, we had a lot of comments tonight. Thank you guys so much for that. So now I'm going to ask this one. It's the final countdown. What does that mean?
It's the final countdown.
It's the final countdown, guys. Both men's and women's baseball and softball for college is wrapping up the regular season. I'm going to start with Hank on this, actually, because I know it's baseball. I don't know if you know much about softball. It's okay. I'm not going to criticize you on this. But who do you think has the best odds right now? If you started right away as you're ahead of all of college baseball, who is your team that you would say circle and say, yep, that team's going right away to Omaha, no matter what? I threw you under a bus.
I'm talking about college baseball.
Yes, college baseball.
No. I mean, look. I mean, my opinion may be slightly biased, but I mean, Mississippi State always has great recruits. You know, they always have great recruits in college baseball. I do actually follow some college baseball. You know, the Mississippi State, North Carolina usually has a pretty good team. Oklahoma, you know, Oklahoma, they've got a good one, but I've got to give a little bit of an edge. But I reserve the right to change my mind. I'm going to give the edge to Mississippi State.
All right, and I'm going to go to you, Shane. Who, if you had to choose anybody, I mean, you could literally choose anyone right now. Who is the team you're circling that they're going to Omaha right now?
I can almost circle 2 of them right now.
Okay,
and they both are orange.
I would be willing to bet one of them is Texas, right?
No.
What?
No. We're talking baseball, right?
Yeah, but Texas is the number 1 team in the league right now in the nation, actually.
Another orange, not a brighter orange.
Would you say Clemson?
I would say Clemson is one of them, and then up in Knoxville, Tennessee. I think UT has got they're just built for a stressful series. They've got the pitching, they've got the bats and stuff like that. Clemson, as long as they can handle it within the 2 games instead of the 3, they'll be all right. But once it comes to that 3rd game, their pitching gets a little ostentatious at times.
That must be the word of the day, by the way.
Yeah, I've heard it like 4 times.
Yeah, I said it first.
Yeah, I know. I pick up on those things. I want to sound smart. Don't ask me to spell it though.
John
Shane, surely you can spell it, Shane.
Well, maybe.
Onomatopoeia.
You just said spell it. You literally said spell it, so I spelled it. I'm
I got one for you. You know what starts with a W and ends with a T?
I don't know if I want to hear this, but okay.
What?
No, what does start with a W and ends with a T? It really does.
What?
Lord. Really?
What?
Get it?
It's like the name of the band. The name of the band is who? Who's the name of the band? The name of the band is who?
Man on first.
Who's the name of the band?
Man on first.
I'm telling you, the name of the band is who? Who was that, Brandon?
All right, so then I'm gonna ask you the next question, Shane.
Slappy
Who do
squirrel.
you see can go to Oklahoma City for softball? Who, obviously we know.
Yeah,
won't have a long time.
Yeah, won't have a far ride from Norman.
Exactly.
But the SEC teams are, Alabama's played good this year. Florida, Texas even had its spurts this year, playing decent. So kind of any one of the top 4 teams in the SEC, I think, would make some noise there in OKC.
Okay. I'm just looking at the rankings right now. Your team. All right. So I think South Carolina can get represented twice. The state of South Carolina will get represented twice. All the way up until I think South Carolina and Clemson, absolutely, because Clemson is going to host. I believe if they win out, they host. I know that's what Graham Neff. I think because no, they're done. Clemson's done. They're finished, so they will host. From what Graham Neff said, I could see Clemson making it to Oklahoma City. I agree with you. Obviously, with SEC. Gosh, this is where it's tough because
we're taking up
Virginia Tech. Let's see right now. Let's see here. They're number 14. They are 40-10.
Okay.
So I could see A&M. Look, here's my list. I think we're obviously for OKC with A&M, obviously Oklahoma, the Tennessee, Florida, gosh, and Texas. Then I could see Oregon, Florida, obviously Florida State. I'm not counting them out. And then Clemson, I could absolutely see them going on. And then Hank's team, Mississippi State, even. I could really, the field is still very wide open. What do you think, Matt? Who do you think right now? Circle any team, anywhere, knowing what you know for the men's baseball. Who do you think could go to Omaha right now? You could point your finger and say, you're going to Omaha no matter what.
Oh, I mean, I can see Tennessee, I can see Clemson, and I can see Texas. I mean, I'll be honest with you; those are the kind of the ones that I would, if I was a betting man, which I am, that's what I would put my money on.
You had to throw that.
It's about consistency for me, man. Granted, Texas had some ups and downs, but it's about consistency for me, and I think those three teams will be one of those teams will be there.
So I'm not going to discredit also our good friend Colin Lacey. He is the play-by-play announcer for Matt. Who's your team again? The Rambling Wreck, right?
Yes, GT.
That's right. So I'm not going to count them out, though. Actually, I think I'm looking right now to see if they're still ranked. So they're not ranked currently right now. Obviously, Clemson, though, they plummeted. They were number 3. Now they're number 9.
Yeah.
But they've had a little bit of a hiccups. I could see though Georgia Tech, playing Harry Houdini and beating, and making themselves into the possible hosting, and maybe even going to. Look, John just said, "I'm so sorry, my Georgia Tech friend." Hey, it's a possibility. Anybody can win at any given time. So obviously, guys, we're excited for the final wrap up of college basketball, college baseball, and women's college softball. It's going to finish up strong. University of Hawaii. I got to shout out to my University of Hawaii Rainbow Wahine. As you guys knew, we had Kanoa Leahy on Saturday. He said they have a very real chance to make it to OKC. So it ain't over until he's over. So shout out to all the teams that are playing in there. Absolutely. So, guys, Matt, Shane, myself, and Hank, we want to give a special shout out to everybody who came and attended our 100th episode. We ended up having, Cassie said she counted 35 people come. So that's a humongous showing. We gave up a lot of good prizes. We ended up only having 2 gift cards left. One was for an ice cream parlor here in Easley called Choo Choo's, which is an ice cream shop literally right on the railroad tracks in downtown Easley. And then, of course, we have our $15 iTunes gift card. Though now, the iTunes gift card can still be given to somebody. We're literally, guys, as you see on my name right here, help us get to 1,000 subscribers. Officially, we are 9 subscribers away from the 1,000 mark on YouTube. Shout out to all 991 people who have subscribed. Thank you guys so much. It means an absolute lot to us. So let's recap everything that took place, and I want you guys to tell everybody your favorite moments that you had during the 100th episode. I'm going to start with Hank. Hank, tell us your favorite moment from the 100th episode, sir.
I think that my favorite is the episode or the weekend itself.
All of it, all together.
I think my favorite part. My favorite parts. All right, I had a couple parts. Before, my favorite part is when Matt and I were working before the show. When I first got in, it was within an hour, and him and I were plugged in across to each other working on some things, and it was interesting to do. And I enjoyed that part because we were kind of, he was doing his thing, and I was working on my thing. And that was my favorite part of the weekend in general, because I was like, okay, we got some, we were working on something together, so to speak. I don't know, that wasn't necessarily having to do with the show itself, but like post show or pre show stuff. So that was my favorite part about that. Well, also of course, a shout out to the replica baseball field that I saw that was cool. And
yeah, the Greenville Drive floor field.
Honestly, my favorite part as far as the show itself goes, I'd probably when the girls walked in and there was that big there was kind of that big pop at that moment for that, because I don't know, man, it's a different generation. Most girls would have been like, "Oh, I'm on the air. What's up, baby?" They were a little bit skittish, okay?
Yeah.
And then the owner of the restaurant, you know his name. I forgot his name.
So yeah.
Okay, shout out. I apologize for not remembering your name, sir, but he was a little skeptical about being on the microphone and stuff like that. So that was my favorite part of the show itself. But as far as the general, really overall, really my favorite part was the part when Matt and I were working across the table from each other. It was like we were working towards something together differently.
And not to mention, guys, so all of us were at my house for that period of time. Shane and Matt stayed with us. I actually had a lot of fun. Hank came and he got to spend time with my girls. They absolutely adored Mr. Hank. That they got excited to see him, everything.
Shocking.
And shout out to Eastland, by the way, who was very she was very inquisitive, exactly what they were doing. She was asking questions. It was pretty neat for that, to hear that for Eastland. She's my I want to learn everything as fast as humanly possible girl. So shout out to her. But I had a lot of fun seeing that, kind of hearing Hank say that. What about you, Matt? What was your favorite part of the weekend and favorite part of the show?
Well, I'm sorry, I just saw this dunk in the Cavalier Pacers game. No, man. Of course, all of us getting together, man. All of us getting together was my favorite part, man. Just us getting together and working as a unit, working as a team. There were certain parts where some of us were a little flustered. Some of us was a little up and down. So it's just us, being together to be able to fix problems. For example, we had a microphone issue.
Absolutely. And thank you to Hank for helping step in right there. I mean, that meant a lot to us.
Yeah, we had a microphone issue, man, and we got it resolved because we were there. Somebody had another piece that was used to help fix that. So
it was nothing. I've got like 30 of those here at the house.
So I mean, it was just being together and solving each other's issues, man. That was kind of my best part. Us going on live and doing a show, that's nothing. We've done this 100 times, so to speak. Really? We've done it 100 times, man. So it's nothing. That's not the hard part, man. That was kind of one of the things that I kind of like.
Absolutely. And I had a lot of fun with that part. All right. So Shane, what about you? And Matt forgot the best part, by the way, which was the food.
Oh man! As soon as I got there, man, I ordered me a plate of nachos. It was a wrap.
I literally had just gotten in there. I was like, "Where's your food?" He goes, "I'm running down." I'm like, "What? You already done? Where's your food? Did you eat the plate?" And he's like, "Yep, I ate the plate and everything."
Yeah. When Shane, we were handing out flyers. Shane texted me, said my food was ready. I'm like, "Peace, I'm out of here."
Yeah, you're lucky, boy, because I was looking at it and that melted cheese was looking good, but I almost
you almost ordered a whole nother meal looking at it.
Yes. And that is
I was like,
to do that.
I was like, you know what, dang, I don't want to do that last time. I was like, oh my god, it looks good. Because Shane and you had some cakes with something too, and Hank ordered the same thing. Steam was coming off it. It was just looking so good. I was like, oh.
I was only there for 24 hours. I promise you, I put on 10 pounds. Like, and I'm not exaggerating. I literally was 10 pounds heavier when I woke up on Monday morning. I'm like, this can't be right. This can't be right.
Flying does that to you as well. Flying makes you retain water, retain weight. All right, Shane, what about you though? What was your favorite part of the weekend and then favorite part of the show?
Well, man, during the show, I enjoyed just I guess you would say the multitude of guests that we had on via either in person or via through the chat and through webcam and all. I thought that was pretty neat how we were able to do that kind of multifaceted type deal during the show. And then man, I always enjoy cooking, so kind of one of my first tries myself alone at a Low Country Broil. So I enjoyed that part and just the hanging out and the camaraderie with everybody there was great. You know, beyond means.
You know, so I have a bunch of parts. Obviously, getting together with my friends was the most enjoyable part. Definitely Shane's cooking by far was the best. You know, guys, if you did, I wish you had been there to enjoy it. Shane made a low country broil, and I don't think any of it's left. Actually, I think it's all gone. That's how good it was. And then he made a phenomenal breakfast the next morning, which all four of us devoured as like fast as humanly possible. It was so good.
Yeah.
But what really got me, you know, it melted my heart, and you guys can kind of see I get a little emotional during that part is when so Matt, I was talking about Clemson, and Matt goes, "We got to interrupt you real quick." I'm like, "What's going on?" And y'all surprised me with the birthday cake, and then also about celebrating the 100th episode. It meant a lot to me, so I got a little emotional hearing my girls, you know, sing happy birthday to me, because you know my girls in my world, they absolutely mean the world to me. So and have my friends there for me and celebrating, it really meant a lot to me. So that was a really good special moment for me. But I think I kind of had the, you know, sentiment with exactly what Shane said with having our guests come on. Obviously, we had a really good guest, a guy who I've idolized for a very long time, in Kanoa Leahy, which is the play-by-play for University of Hawaii Sports. We had him on. I was really excited to have him on and stuff. You know, that tickled me. And by the way, shout out to my daughter's team. They won 17-3, guys.
Woo.
And my wife just got home, so I'm sure I'm about to hear from Addison. But then I enjoyed having Jason come on. I enjoyed the interaction we had. Guys, I had so much fun. Just everything. It was a lot of fun. So that was probably the highlight. You know, obviously the first live was good, but it could have been better. And this time was really good. You know, I had great company, great friends, great everything. So I shout out to you guys. Addison, come tell us about your we are on. Did you guys win?
Yes.
And what was the final score?
17-3.
And Addison, how did you do?
Great.
What did you have, baby? Or do I need to ask mommy? All right, I'll ask mommy. So yes, we just got told they won 17-3. So, and Addison, Mr. Hank is doing the applaud. He's doing an applaud sound effect for you right now. So, guys, it was just an overall fun experience. You know, all right. So I gotta let you guys know, season 3 is wrapping up soon for the Sportz Nutz. Yes, we have. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 7 episodes left of the season 3. All right, I'm listening. How did she do? Addison went 3 for 3 with 2 RBIs, which that would put her at 18 RBIs for the season, y'all. Way to go, Addison. Proud of you, baby. So obviously we have 7 episodes left, yes, of season 3. Then we will take a week off. And guys, then we come back with season 4. We're going to have a new intro. We're going to have more guests on the show. We're going to have a lot more fun. And guys, we have a lot of great ideas. During the summertime, Matt and I have already discussed it. And Shane, Hank, you're more than welcome to join as well. We are going to do a 3rd episode. It's going to be like a 35, 45-minute kind of episode. And we're going to do 3 episodes a week during the summertime. So if you guys want to join, please do. We would absolutely appreciate it. If you guys can right now, you see we have a new ticker on the bottom there telling you all the places to follow us, subscribe, everything. Help us get that 1,000 mark. We need 9 more subscribers to get to the 1,000 mark on YouTube, and we can do it with your help. So share this video and everything. Follow us on our Twitter page. Follow us on our Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, Facebook. What I don't know, and then Hank also has a YouTube page called the Hank Russell Invitation. Check him out. He's about to do some pretty cool stuff, guys. You're gonna want to tune in for his stuff. You're gonna want to tune in for his stuff.
Hopefully, I'm doing some cool things. I got to get some phone calls back. But
So look, guys, we've had a phenomenal episode. Thank you for all those who tuned in. Obviously, over 30 comments today means an absolute lot to us. We appreciate all of the comments. We appreciate all those who have tuned in. So Shane, what do you tell these lovely people, sir?
Hey, man, as always, it's a pleasure to get on here with you guys. May the good Lord bless. Peace, love, and bacon grease.
Yes, peace, love, and bacon grease indeed. Hank, what do you say to the lovely people, sir?
You could have gone somewhere else this evening, but you were with us tonight, and I appreciate you coming on as well.
Yes, we had a lot of fun. All right, Matt, what do you tell these lovely people?
Yeah, guys, just try not to get flagged, man, and just go out, do what you got to do, handle your business, stay out of trouble, just keep it moving.
That's right. Don't get flagged. As I always tell you guys, peace up. A-Town Down White's the greatest sports city there ever was. Hey, we will be back with you on Friday. Goodness, I thought it was Friday. Okay, we're back with you guys on Friday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, as always. Until then, guys, have a wonderful evening. We'll talk to you on Friday and enjoy the lovely outro. Good night.